folks, and welcome back. As we approach mid-February now, I think it's about time I started sowing a few brassicas. Now normally I sow more or less the same quantities of each variety: cabbage, cauli, sprouts, stuff like that. But last year the cauliflowers didn't do very well for me, and because of that I'm going to be sowing a lot more cauliflowers. So what I'll do, I'll sort out the packets from my box of seeds there, and I'll run you through what I'm going to be actually sowing for this year. So here they are. I'll just run you through from left to right. Bringing up number one is the celeriac, and that's Asterix. I usually grow that every year and it always returns a good crop. Then we got Calabrese, Iron Man. Again, another reliable cropper. But saying that, last year it did blow because we had that weird weather, really hot weather. But I cut the tops down and actually give me a little crop for the second time round. Not as big as usual, but is something nevertheless. Onto the cauliflowers, a brand new one for me. This one's called Zaragoza F1, a clubroot resistant variety. Never grown it before, so it'll be interesting to see how that goes. Then below that we got the Sapporo F1. I grew that last year, and say cauliflowers didn't do too good for me at all. Moving on, next one we got a Swede, Tweed F1. Again, I didn't get a very good crop, although that is my usual variety, so I'm going to give that another chance. Then right onto the end, it's the Brussels sprout, and that there is the one called Crispus. Always get a great crop off that. This year's been no exception. I was still cropping there until probably about 2 or 3 weeks ago, where we had the last lot, but they'd actually started to blow. And moving down the bottom is a row of cabbages. Now I did say I wasn't doing so many cabbages, although there looks quite a few varieties here. I'll probably be only putting 1 or 2 plants out into the beds. And first of all, we've got Dutchman there, Greyhound, which I usually grow every year, a good reliable cropper again, nice taste. Killer Store, that is a clubroot resistant variety, and also the one called Killerton as well. That's another a regular favourite of mine. I've been growing that for a number of years, and probably one of the most popular cabbages of all is a Golden Acre. An awful lot of gardeners do grow them. So that's the actual set of seeds I'll be growing or sowing this today, and I'll bring you back when I've done them. The cell tray is an 84 cell tray. I've had that from one of the commercial garden centres nearby. They actually chuck these out when they finished the half of the season, so I'm always happy to pick these up. I've prepped my tray now, put all my number identifiers on the top, and I'm just going to fill it now. This is my double sifted worm compost with the added vermiculite. In fact, I've run out of sharp sand, and this is running quite low, but the other thing is it's a bit dry. This has been in the garden shed since probably late August, early September. I'd like it a bit more moist, but nevertheless I'll fill these cells and give it a spray before I actually put the sowing dimples in. By just dampening the soil now, just like when we're doing the parsnips and carrot planting holes, it helps retain the shape when you put the dibber in. I ended up sowing another half tray of brassicas. I'll put a total listed number along the bottom of the screen, so there's only one seed in each cell, so it's not too many. I could have delayed sowing these a little bit, but I want to try and free up a little bit of space towards the end of the month, and we've got some good weather coming. I've had a look at the long range forecast, and that'll give me a chance then to get the beds prepared. I'm going to pot on the Kelsae onions now. Looking on the day there, these were sown just under 2 weeks ago, and you can see the bottom 8 has really brought them on. The germination is a bit sporadic. Looking on the top, there seems to be no come up germination on the one side. I don't know whether that's my weird sowing or what, but anyway, there's enough there. As I said in the last video, I probably only want 10 or 12. I'm going to pot them in them 3-inch pots there. And there's the soil mix. It's the Bathgate's Champion blend, reduced peat. On the left I've got a bit of vermiculite to add in, and the stuff on the right, that's called charge. It's beetle poo if you haven't heard of it before. So I'm going to mix that up and pot them on. I mentioned a little earlier the reason for sowing the seeds in close succession. I want to try and find a little spot at the end of the month so I can concentrate on getting the beds prepared. To be honest, I haven't been out on the allotment since probably the end of September, so I've just left the beds as they are. They're not in a very good state at the moment, but I'm sure they'll soon knock them into shape, give them a couple of days. Come and have a look. We'll start off down the bottom end here with the carrot tanks. Most of those are empty now. There might be 1 or 2 pickings, but not many. And I'm very, very pleased the crop we've had out of these, so I'll be repeating that yet again. Into this bed here, we've got the garlic. We had 1 or 2 casualties with the storms. We had the rain and the snow, but nonetheless I think they'll be okay come the end of the June or whatever we pick them out. In here normally I have my garden flowers, but I've still got some tanks, so what I'm going to be doing on there is probably I might fill them with manure halfway up, put some old compost in, and then pot some garlic. I've not sown elephant garlic, which is unusual. I think I've still got a few in the shed, so I might pop them in, and then we'll just move up to here into the veggie pod. Again, this has been left on its own. Lift this up, pop that up there. As you can see, the lettuce has done really well. I think all this is the oak leaf stuff, and we're ready for picking. There's one of the old chilies there. I think that was one of the, was it prairie fire or something like that, I'm not sure. Anyway, some lettuce in there. I'll start picking that soon and refeed this ready. One thing with the veggie pod, do remember to add food in it because it does deplete quite quickly during the year. So that's the veggie pod. Just move around now to the next bed. This bed here is where I had the low growing French beans, and I had a really good crop off those. And on the far side was the courgettes. In the middle bed here was the peas. As you can see, there's not too much weeds around, so I think that should clear up quite a lot. And the other side of there was where I had my flower pots with the gladioli. Down on this side, I've still got about 10 parsnips in. And on the other side, you've got some, I think it's a bit of chard, and along there, this celeriac, it's actually started sprouting what's left in there. So again, bed repairs. So I've still got the actual pavers to put up on the end, but I'll probably do that on the fly as I go along. This bed in here is more or less clear. I've got this one covered up, and it was the brassica bed, as you can see. Unusual for me, I've left the sprout stems in the ground. I usually fetch all brassicas out to the risk of leaving the clubroot disease, but I'll be taking those out soon because we've got a council bin clearance, and I'll whack them in there because they're more to get rid of. Onto here is my asparagus bed. I've still got to cut that down actually, but I put some new crowns in here right at the, probably about April last year, and we've had the mole 2 or 3 runs along here, so whether they'll come up again I don't know. There's the bird food. Strawberry bed's looking good. There's the Cambridge favourite, and they seem to like last. Very rarely go brown, I'm still green. They've been green all through that snow we had. Along here is the beds where I had the outdoor tomatoes, and still got the one sunflower sticking up there. I think there's 1 or 2 beetroot in the bottom as well. So I'll soon get rid of those. I can't remember what we had in this bed this year. I know it was an early cropper because I've covered it. And there's a wheelbarrow there with a couple of buckets on. And this is where I had the potatoes. As you know, the result of that was not too good towards the end of the year. Once the frost and snow had gone up, turned them all to mush. However, what I do with the potatoes when I put the buckets down, I always manure the bed, and you can see that's there. so whatever goes in there will be well fertilised. I haven't done my planting plan yet, but that shouldn't take long. This here was me allium bed, and 2 of the beds are covered up, and in there I've still got the last few, and I think these were sown, the leeks, around about May. It's the second sowing of leeks, and there's still 1 or 2 I can salvage. Again, not a lot of weeding to do in it. So, although it looks a bit rough at the moment, I think it'll soon clear up. And in there, as you know, I built the runner bean bed late last year. I had a good crop of that, and I'm going to be top dressing that and having a look at that soon. Into the garden greenhouse now, and that's more or less as I've left it. Got some pots in here that's got me gladioli in. I bought them in to keep them out of the frost. Hopefully they survived. I've still got me auto pots in there. I'll be putting new soil in and doing my tomatoes in. Along the back I've got the quad growers. They'll be used for the cucumbers. And again, auto pots along this side. The borders, as usual, will be used for any surplus peppers that I've got. I've got a few dahlias there. I think one of them might have been succumbed to the cold weather. And up on the top I've been using this as storage. You saw in an earlier video for the shallots. These are all the pavers I've got planned, ready for renewing the bed sides. So I'm going to do these on the fly rather than do them as a one-off project. Luckily, covering the beds up does give you a good start to the season without having to clear up. So hopefully within definitely a couple of days clear all the rubbish, and I should say a week I could get the beds ready. I'm about to start sowing the tomatoes now. Originally I was going to do them in the Agriland plug plant trainer, but instead I think I'm going to do them, definitely the crimsons, in these pots, because I'll probably be sowing around about 20 seeds, because this is my main crop tomato, not only in the greenhouse but also out in the beds on the allotment as well. So I've got Crimson Crush there, usual variety. I've got one there, there's one called Summer Last, and that's a blight resistant. I'll be giving that a trial. There's another one of the Crimson family. This one's called Crimson Cherry, and as usual it's a little tiny job. My usual cherry tomato is one called Sweet Million, but I've not got the seed for that this year. So at the garden centre I came across this one. Looks a good picture. If it lives up to that, I'll be more than happy. And this one's called Sun Cherry Premium F1 Hybrid. And last but not least, there's the old favourite tumbler. I've been doing about 3 or 4 of them for a couple of hanging baskets in the garden. So let's get sowing. Quickly remove the lid and show you. The 2 tubs have gone in there, and I'll be doing the others exactly the same using my worm compost and vermiculated it. These are the peppers that I've sown earlier. A bit sporadic, the germination on some. In fact, there's nothing at all in here. I'll just need to check the sowing date, and I'll probably give them 3 weeks, and if there's nothing else I'll probably do a batch sowing in the normal 3-inch pots. In the end I've decided to cut my losses and give up on these expanding sacks or whatever they are. This is the second time I've used them now and not had really good success. So I'm going to re-sow the peppers that have failed in there, block sow them into a 3-inch pot, and then prick them out eventually. So I'm going to continue with that now. So thanks very much for watching, and in the next one, weather permitting, we'll be out on the allotment starting the tidy up. Till then, see you later. Bye for now.